Good evening, it's Jonathan here with another YouTube video, and today we'll be looking at Windows customization, desktop customization. See, the wallpaper changed while I was saying that. The Microsoft Bing wallpapers, got a pile of them and they rotate in a slideshow. Every half an hour they change, unless you press the button and change them. So you can see what my situation's like here with recording a video on this old laptop computer. You have to be very patient. Very patient. So this is Nexus. Nexus and Nexus is the dock which is replacing the standard Windows taskbar. But I'll just quickly show you. Nexus is from Winstep.net, Winstep software, and it's got a wonderful feature I love, which is you can change its color, just in case you're not sure about customization. That's what customization means. Tweaking is another word for it. And some things are different and some things are the same. Like the start menu. Power Toys needs an update. Okay, we'll forget about that for the moment. The start menu, which is normally over here on the left of the taskbar, what we call the dock, I think, in Nexus. You press the Windows button and the start menu pops up. And it looks a bit different from the standard start menu. It's basically customized. I'll come to that later. And you can see it's a slow computer. It's a third generation i5. Try and compute that mathematic. And this is what it looks like trying to do that. And if, in case you don't trust me, it's 17 degrees outside, I think. This one says 17 degrees too. Sometimes they differ. See, the weather pops up there. Harare, Katsango, Zimbabwe. Last checked at 9 o'clock. It's a few minutes past 9. And we got all sorts of things here. But following on from the start menu, start button, start menu, there's the action center, the system tray, and some settings. They look a little different on the surface, but under the hood they're the same. Same Windows features. Windows 11 running on, as I say, third generation i5. It's a Lenovo ThinkPad T430 laptop computer. One of the hinges recently broke, so I have to keep it open when I transport it. Other than that, it's okay. See, it's getting used to the video, and it seems to work. If you don't press too many buttons, it doesn't sort of worry about it too much. Some of the buttons are easy to press. Some of them are less easy to press. So those are some Windows, Notepad++ and QBitTorrent. They're both free applications for Windows. The QBitTorrent downloads and uploads on the BitTorrent network, and Notepad++ is a zooped up version of replacement rather for Windows Notepad. And it's got amazing features. You see, I can see that there's 3 lines and there's 82 characters of text. I think that's including spaces. But let's see what these buttons do. If I press Cascade Windows, it neatly aligns them. If I press Show Windows Side by Side, it side by sides them. And if I press Show Windows Stacked, it stacks them. Aren't those useful features to have on the so-called taskbar? I think they are. And you can put the computer to sleep with the touch of a button, and you can start the screensaver and lock screen with the press of a button. We'll come to some other features in a moment, but let's minimize both windows at once using this button, Show Desktop. There we go. That gives you an introduction to Nexus and Winstep software, which I discovered many years ago. And I've been playing around with it on various archaic devices over the years. But this is as far as I've got, really. And I must repeat that it's slow because we're recording the screen. We're recording this video at the same time, and so it slows down the whole interface because it's got to record the video. So please bear with it. Adobe Photoshop, 2025. There's a button which looks a little like a no smoking sign or a stop street, and it's the hide dock button. Hopefully it won't crash my computer. And there's hid the dock. Isn't that a wonderful picture of a river flowing through some what looks like Vermont? Yeah, amazing. We've got our weather widget and our clock widget. We'll come to those a bit later. But if I move my cursor to the bottom of the screen, you see it pops up again, the dock. I didn't press a key that time, it just popped up. And there's the standard Windows Explorer. This side by side those. Open that one there. That's my replacement for Windows Explorer. It's I think it's an Australian company. Correct me if I'm wrong, Internet. GP Software, and I've struggled to get it to work over the years, but eventually it got working recently. I'm so pleased. It's such a wonderful piece of software. And this is the normal Windows Explorer. There we go. You see my Bing wallpapers there. And let's side by side them. Side by side. Yeah. There you can see them side by side. You see how neat and tidy that one is compared to this scruffy one over here. Fuck you, amazing like that. Excuse my language, YouTube. I'm not used to being on the world stage. Excuse my French, as they say. I speak a little French. Let's minimize those to the dock. And that's the download folder. If I click on that, it opens my downloads. And this button, hopefully it won't crash my computer, is the Nexus button, and you can we've seen that effect. It's got preferences, and this is version of Nexus 25.2. You can go to the website winstep.net and change all the settings. It's quite a long list of settings it's got. That action center. Yeah, that's right. This section is for apps that are open but haven't been pinned to the dock. So that's the difference between that section. That's my OBS Studio, which is recording this video. And the time is 9:10 in the evening on the atomic clock, May 29th, 2025. I can't believe it's probably about 30 years since we loaded up Windows 3.1. Seems like a blink of an eye ago. And it's about 25 years since we opened up Photoshop 6.0. Long time. Anyway, I think we've all had enough of Nexus for the moment on this very slow video. But we're getting through some material, that's for sure. And I'm going to pause the video and make a couple of adjustments. But the main adjustment that I wanted to make was to exit. I want to show you what happens when we exit. There's so many features of Winstep software that I'd love to show you, but I'll have to wait for another day because it's painful on this slow computer. But we've got far enough, wouldn't you say? So yeah, it gives you a look and feel of what we're talking about on Winstep software. And to exit, I just right click on the Nexus icon, go to exit and say exit Nexus. Are you sure? Run Nexus at Windows Startup. I'll leave that off for the moment and click yes. There we go. We've exited Nexus. And we are back to a more normal, not an entirely normal, but a more normal Windows environment. Give it a few seconds to load. I've said my share of swear words over the years, I'll have you know. There we go. We've got our taskbar back. And you see how sort of different it is from the feel of that video of Nexus. On to the next chapter, but I'm going to take a break with that bit of news. And this slow thing. It's popped up again. It's very slow on the video. But it gives you a good feel for what this computer does. It's all much faster when you're not recording a video. So let's stop it there. Okay. So you see the record button immediately on this version of Windows customization. This is a slightly skinned taskbar. And you see my desktop icons are back with a bang. So you've had the Winstep Nexus introduction. Now we're going to dive under the hood and look at some tweaking. And I'll just step you through some of the basics. But if I go too fast, don't worry. You can always sort of read tutorials online to find out how each of the software packages works. But yeah, that's my OBS Studio. I see it says version 31.0.3, and it's recording because I pressed F9, which is my hotkey for recording. And you can see what I was browsing recently. You can see I was browsing how to best OBS recording settings, and there's gumlet.com there. Just Googled it. And yeah. So what my immediate setup is when I'm not worried about OBS Studio and it's trying to communicate with Winstep Nexus, I sort of do this sort of thing. I go to my start menu, go to the pinned applications, and I go to Stardock 11. Stardock Start11, excuse me. And what we want to do, you see, I had my start menu turned on there. What I'd had to turn off was other things to get it to skin my start, my taskbar, etc. See my start button there. It's a nice vinyl record, neon vinyl they call it. And you can see it's not responding, but it does respond eventually. And then let's Start11 enhance the taskbar. Would you like Start11 to enhance the Windows 11 taskbar? Allowing Start11 to enhance the taskbar lets you ungroup applications on the taskbar and enables drag and drop functionality. Enabling this will turn on ungrouping taskbar buttons by default and will set your taskbar to left aligned. Click yes. Show seconds on the taskbar clock. Taskbar pins. All done. Search. Use Start11 search in the Start11 start menu. If the sense of the lingo there. Show results from everything instead of Start11 file searches. That's a whole nother kettle of fish, and I won't be going into the details of what everything means, but it's an application and it's a very good one. And it's useful alongside another customization tool called Windows Customization Windhawk. Install everything and Windhawk, and you won't go far wrong, especially because they're free software. So onto the control. I don't know if I had these on or off. I will leave them off for the moment. I can't remember whether I had them on or off. Settings and about. Start11, copyright 2023 Stardock software. If you buy the latest version, you will get a 2025 there, I'm sure, and your license and version number. So let's see what that did to our interface before we go any further. We can just close that. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to do first. You see how OBS Studio is Windows friendly if you use it without Winstep Nexus. If we go to the taskbar, we say Restart Explorer, but there's just one thing I want to do before that. Configure Enhanced Taskbar. taskbar combining. Never combine. So we want to always combine. Yeah. And then we go back and we say restart Explorer. So at that stage, when you've set up your settings, then you can restart Explorer. It just refreshes the whole desktop so that it updates all the settings you've changed. And then we can see what it's saying. Close that. Wait a few seconds for it to load. In the meantime, we can look at the clock. Isn't it a fancy clock? And the weather app. You see it's got stars in the night sky there and a moon. So Windows Explorer takes a bit of time to refresh there. And I had never done this before. Never done it while recording a video. So it's a new experience for me. The river flows onward. The river flows on. For sure. Looks like a neat piece of Vermont or something with the autumn leaves changing. So yeah, do have to be patient in that situation. But I do give it a few seconds, especially if we're recording a video at the same time. And then when I've had enough of that, oh, there we go. You see it? It's a clever machine. See what it looks like now. And by the way, for security, I am using a VPN there. Windscribe. So we've got Windhawk and Windscribe. It's like the endless links in bio that you see on social media. But we're doing pretty well. We've got through 20 odd minutes of the video. And you'll see what it lands up looking like. It's interesting stuff. So this machine is going on, I think, 17 years old, and I got it halfway through its life. So, well, not actually, more like 2/3 of the way through its life. That's from the original manufacture date in 2008, I think. Anyway, it's an exercise in meditation, if nothing else. You can just check how that's doing. Give it a few more seconds. Huh? It's still recording. Yeah. Give it a few more seconds to load. It's just taking us time because we're recording a video at the same time. And then we've got our games and apps. Now these are actually folders. They blink there. These are actually folders, but I changed the icon to represent what they are. They're shortcuts to all my apps and shortcuts to all my games. And they're just in an ordinary folder. And I find that very useful to have on the desktop for various reasons. And there's a recycle bin which I keep empty most of the time. If you want to get a sense of my history in Windows computing, there's the shortcut that my most commonly used keyboard shortcut is Shift Delete. If you press Shift Delete, then it'll pop up with a question to say, do you want to permanently delete this file? And you can click yes or no to that question. I find it keeps my life fully organized, and I live in the moment. I call it my Zen keyboard shortcut. See, it's doing well there. Yeah. Now, the next step is how to get it looking like it should. So we've got one step done, and it may or may not oblige. See how different it looks now? There we go. No, not quite. So if you're not recording a video at the same time, excuse my repeating that all over again, but if you're not recording a video at the same time, the restarting the Explorer takes under a minute. But because we're recording a video at the same time, it's taking a long time to refresh. And also, we made a number of changes along the way. Because I'm not sure if it's still working or not. There's no indicator to say 90% done. That would be a good improvement if you're beta testing this situation. But I'm not sure. Start menu opens. Takes a bit of time to load. So I get a feel it's still thinking. Oh, there we go. The one criticism I've got of this software called Start11 from Stardock is that the icons keep on refreshing. It doesn't seem to store the icons. Maybe a technical difficulty. They probably fixed it by now. After all, this Start11 is 2 years old, as you've seen. So now a few tweaks to the taskbar. It's a good indicator of how far we've got. If we try and open it, there we go. And what we're looking at is the taskbar. When we're not recording a video at the same time, it never comes up with not responding. It works perfectly well. It's just conflicts with OBS Studio we haven't ironed out. So configure enhanced taskbar. And then the button text, taskbar combining. Taskbar, shortcut control. Allow the taskbar to be resized. It's not there. Taskbar rounded corners. Taskbar transparency. Animate rounded corners. Show seconds on the taskbar. But look and position. Texture. Start button. You see my start button is looking sweet there. Just let me see. On transparency, rounded corners, sync settings, adjust settings to the taskbar window, maximize windows. We're stymied so far, but let's try enhance taskbar again. Windows 11 style, shortcut control. You'll certainly know a lot more about it after this. Transparency. Let's try it as 80%. I've just momentarily forgotten where the particular button is, but we'll find it. We're on the case. Custom texture. Custom textures. It's not in there. There's a button. There we go. That's it. I've remembered. Yeah, no, nothing. Search, control D. That's all control settings. It's on the taskbar, I'm sure. Start button. How would you like the taskbar configured? Secondary displays. So I've got dual purposes in doing this video for YouTube because it'll give you real life experience, and it sends some good responses. There we got some more buttons. What I'm looking for, if I don't, what I'm looking for is a button that says large. There we go. Taskbar size large. That's the one. Let's go for extra large. And it says Restart Explorer, no. And let's put large. And then we say Restart Explorer, yes. So going back to the beginning again, restarting Explorer. But hopefully this time it'll be a bit quicker. Actually pops up pretty quickly there. That's the one that I didn't scroll down far enough to find it. It's hard to remember all this stuff. And I'm doing this video as an improvisation as well. So a bit of humor for everybody. That's working. Advanced taskbar tweaks. Explore restart needed. There we go. So just leave it, don't press a button. These taskbar options are functionally built into Windows 11, which is not exposed in settings, and they may change in future versions of Windows 11 or experience unexpected behaviors. So there's your answer to that question. So basically, either you play the waiting game like we did in this situation, or you send a message to the software developer to say, either way, we know that it is the interaction with OBS Studio and this situation of customization that is generally at fault. For argument's sake, we could try the same situation with Adobe Premiere, but I'm still learning how to record videos and what a bitrate means and all this kind of thing, so I'm not in a position to argue. But anyway, it's still saying advanced taskbar tweaks, explore, restart needed. And it's still small. Still small. But it has come up again. And at the same time, we look at the hard disk light to see if it's working or not. But that's basically it, is that large. Mm. Let's try extra large. Would you like to restart Explorer to apply this change? So now you've got real life experience of what it's like on my side of the internet compared to any other normal situation that people would not find themselves in. This is the situation that I found myself in. And we'll just keep a check of what it's doing when it comes up. See, this I didn't do last time, a few moments ago. This time we'll check when it materializes. Extra large is also nice, but my preference was large in that situation. Yeah, no, it's just the interaction with OBS Studio that's causing this dilemma. That's sort of what they call existential crisis of computing. There we go. See, it's reliable if nothing else. It's not like the Winstep Nexus situation where it just crashes. Yeah, that's what happened on Winstep Nexus. It just crashed every time. Whereas this is actually stable. It's it's actually responsive. The animations and stuff on Winstep Nexus are too much for an old machine. But I get the feeling that if we wait around a bit and see what the result is, if we give it a bit of time, I think it's time that we were missing out on. See those icons disappear and reappear. And again, it's still coming up with that message: advanced taskbar tweaks, restart, explore windows. So what I'm wondering is if we press this button instead, whether it actually does something different, because it's not changing the size of the taskbar. Enhanced taskbar enabled. Did we enhance the taskbar? You'll know it inside out by the time it's done. Enhanced taskbar. That's disabled taskbar button animation. Enhanced taskbar enabled. Disabled taskbar button animations. That's not it. Enhanced taskbar enabled. Enhanced taskbar is enabled. Let's try pressing that button. See, it's a different thing to do. Anyway, this video is running on to an hour, but we're certainly getting experience at the same time. I'll probably ditch this video and do another one. Okay. And the problem is that it's preventing us from getting to the meat of the matter, which I'm looking forward to doing. That's why we might just drop this section of the video because it's getting too tedious. Yeah. What I get the feelings happening is that OBS Studio is preventing a real restart of Explorer. Because normally that button I'm sure normally works. The restart Explorer button normally works. Anyway, let me just stop the video and we'll restart it exactly where it was. So, on with the story. I eventually remembered where the setting was. So, if you right click on the taskbar and go to taskbar settings, and then you go down to taskbar behaviors and you unselect automatically hide the taskbar. Now it will change to large icons. See, that's the setting that does it. It was worth going through that just to describe a particular situation where it comes in handy to know a particular setting like that. So now we can go back to the Start11 and change it to large icons. Go to taskbar, go down to extra large and change it to large, and say yes, restart Explorer. Now to get it. A long way to go, but it was worth that setting. And it gives a good example for everyone. But now we're waiting for the normal restart of Explorer with OBS Studio recording the screen. Isn't that a lovely picture of some ducks or geese? Swans, actually, I think. Yeah, the swans. So that's another Microsoft Bing wallpaper. At one time, it's fronted the Microsoft Bing daily image, as far as I know. Yeah, thanks for bearing with me with this video. It's taken a while to get the job done. And you've got a pretty picture to look at. So this gives you an example of also what Zen is like for me. I enjoy doing my Zen. See, it pops up there. And this time it'll skin the taskbar properly. There we go. See how quickly it does it. See, that was a brick wall, that button. It should be easier to identify. And now it's skinning it properly. And so we can get on with the epic odyssey that this video has become. Yeah. Give Give it a few more seconds. And you see it's still auto-hiding the taskbar, but it's the job of Start11 to hide the taskbar and not the job of Windows. So Start11 needs to have some sort of a switch to disable that setting. So it's still auto-hiding, but the question is it Windows' job or is it Start11's job to hide the taskbar? It caused us a half-hour-long existential crisis. Anyway, we're still here, so that's what matters. See, it's getting it properly. All done. That's what an Explorer restart with the OBS Studio running looks like. And now onward ho, the video continues. See my Photoshop there, Adobe Photoshop 2025, aren't I sophisticated? And Civilization 6 or 7 has come out. I think 7 is almost out. And we're still on Civilization 4. Anyway, let's move on from our swans. So to do that, I right click on the desktop and say next desktop background. And without any trouble, it changes it. And now we're in the moon. Isn't that wonderful to see the moon? Thank you, Bill Gates. Thank you to whom it may concern. Start menu working. Takes a bit of time to load. Is my video stop recording? It is, but I don't have a red spot on it. Start menu loading. So that gives you an example of a skinned taskbar with Start11. Start11, they probably fixed that bug anyway in the subsequent version. I look forward to trying it. It's an interesting experience for me because I've never seen how slow everything is with the screen recording going on. Just a good indicator. Yeah. Dum de dum de dum. 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 Yeah, getting up and doing an hour and a half impromptu is no joke. It's a major step forward for me in my life and as a person, and getting to know you guys out there on the internet and beyond. You never know where a YouTube video will end up being played. So where to next? So with this Start11 taskbar, I've got my apps folder and my games folder situated on an expanding menu. You press games and it comes up with the games, and you press apps and it comes up with the apps. And then you can choose from any of those apps. So these aren't all the apps on the computer, they're just the ones in my apps folder. So it's a different it gives you a sight on what the actual computer itself looks like if you see what's in the shortcuts folder. You see Winstep Extreme is installed on this machine. And so that is a different way of accessing that is a different way of accessing the shortcuts folder compared to the same thing happening on the start menu with the slow icon load. There we go. Yeah. A second time it opens pretty quickly. Let's try opening Notepad. I don't know what's going to pop up here. Ah, rain meter settings. And we haven't mentioned rain meter yet, but it gives us a good opportunity to discuss rain meter. Let's just close that setting. We've done that one. On to the next one. You're very brave watching this video right to the end. So this is a rain meter skin. It's actually a combination of two different rain meter skins. This is the Windows 11 clock rain meter skin, and this is the tiny weather rain meter skin. And I've saved them as a layout. The reason I've done that is because if I want to change layouts, I go to the right, I right click on one of the skins, go to rain meter, go to layout, and I've got various personal Slinky skins named after a previous cat of mine, Slinky Wizard, who was also a psy-trance musician. Anyway, if we go to Slinky 125%, it'll load a different skin. And give it a few seconds to load the weather. Are we online? We seem to be online. We're on Nano there. There we go. Harare, Zimbabwe. It was worth the journey, Harare, Zimbabwe. And you can see what we put in to get that result. Harare, Zimbabwe, longitude and latitude. So we plug that into the skin, this rain meter skin. And this rain meter skin's got three sections. It's got the standard Illustro section, which includes a Google search. I'll show you in a moment. And it's got the a lot of weather skin and a Windows 10 clock. There's all sorts of things you can do with a rain meter skin, but that gives you some sense of what we're talking about with customizing the Windows desktop. Let's have a look at this. This is a Google search. There we go. Got a cursor. Let's search for Bing wallpaper today. See, it doesn't give me any sort of quick results on that. It just automatically goes to your web browser and opens it. Google search. We can close our OBS recording. That job's done. And it searches in my Zen browser. So that's a neat piece of Rainmeter. And we can see Bing Wallpaper Gallery or Bing Wallpaper Archive. Anyway, what we're actually looking for is Bing, to see what's on Bing today. So we actually put it in here, into our multi-bar, Bing.com. And so we can see in comparison to the rest of this video what today's Bing looks like. Beautiful. Wow. That's special, eh? Just special. Thanks, Microsoft. Good doing business. And that's what the Zen homepage looks like. See the Pirate Bay on that Torrent network. So that's Rainmeter. And if we want to go back to the previous layout, we just do the same in reverse. Layouts, and we go to, I think it is Win11. Yeah. So we're back to our original layout then. So we've killed a couple of birds with one stone there. And the next one, and I think it's the last one for this video, is going to be Windows WindowFX, another Stardock product. Home, home says About WindowFX. You don't have to go to the About menu, it's automatically on. And this does all sorts of things. So let's turn it on. There, it's on. And is our desktop going to work? I'll show you a type of, when a window opens, it'll have this type of animation thanks to WindowFX 6. There we go. So if we close a window, it'll have the distort 3. There we go. So let's close that window now we've started it up. It was too quick to see. So let's try it with Notepad++. There we go. I can just get that. Let's try another way of doing that. There we go. And you see, I can wave to you with my window. It's not working so long. Let's close that. There, it's got the animation in there. Let's open it again. See if it gets the animation. No, it didn't quite. Again, back to our troubleshooting with OBS Studio. But it didn't crash the computer. It was unresponsive window for a few seconds. There, that's a different one if you minimize. And if you maximize, it just has the standard windows. Try closing it again. Opening it. I'm not sure if it's going to work. No, it doesn't quite get us. It just shows you opening applications with the video recording is no fun. But minimizing and restoring windows is not too bad. But the close button works. The close animation works. So you get a sense of what it's meant to do. Try that application. Try again. QBitTorrent. If you've got any questions, uBitTorrent, or what they call muBitTorrent. Just change the shape of the window. Try again. See, the closing animation works fine. Now it's doing some strange stuff. There's some strange effect that one. Yeah, it's so quick it doesn't do it. So one last test before we say it's a day. Let us go to our WindowFX. And there you can see that open animation. And we just want to change the speed. Adjust animation speed and make it a little bit slow. And now let's try. I'm looking forward to having a cup of coffee before going to bed. Sort of tries to work. Progress has been made, but there's still a long way to go, Microsoft. Especially on a computer that otherwise generally works well. This situation's been a nightmare. I'm the first to admit it. That's the icon for Rainmeter, Nexus, WindowFX, Stardock Start11. What else have we done? We've done quite a few. Yeah, covered the basics. Last of all, Flow Launcher. Flow Launcher opens with a keyboard shortcut, Alt Space. And you just type in what you want to there. System information. And tap enter on whichever one you choose. I can't remember what this system information looks like. And one more Bing wallpaper before we go to bed. Full moon, gibbous moon, quarter moon or half moon, first quarter, last quarter, um, and crescent, which is the waxing crescent, and which is the waning crescent, which is the first quarter and which is the last quarter, which is the waxing gibbous and which is the waning gibbous. That's configuration. We don't want configuration, thank you. Flow launcher. We want system information. I think it'll definitely be tomorrow morning by the time we get a chance to upload this video. But it gives you time scale on that. There you can see that animation better. Yeah. Microsoft Windows 11 Pro on an Intel Core i5, etc. And we are at Big Tree Harari, as previously stated. And it's a Lenovo ThinkPad yeah, T430. Yeah. So just to show you, if we Alt space, that's my keyboard shortcut for Flow Launcher. Then we can look up chapter 1. Chapter 1. And if we go down a bit, you'll see chapter 1 comes up in my documents here. But it's the beginning of the book, and we still need to write the rest of the book. So I'm not going to give you any spoilers on that one. So last of all, we're going to change the wallpaper to next desktop background. Isn't that lovely? It would be nice to know where they are, but we've only got some short file names to go on that. Otherwise, we have to Google the image with Google image search to find out what a big wallpaper actually represents. Almost 10:30, time for my bedtime, or time to play again. Let's just open that up so you can see what it's like opening one of these folders. And it should open us in directory Opus. See if the animation works. Animation works, for sure. Give it a chance to open. Opens the desktop folder, given a chance to do so. And there you can see if it loads the icons. And then there's a way of actually, I think it's control and mouse wheel makes them smaller in directory Opus. We can also go to the apps and see the shortcuts themselves. Make it a bit smaller. There. And I've just put the view on thumbnails, the option for large icons, etc. So that is the world's first real view of what my situation is like with old computers and brand new software. It's an interesting imbroglio. It causes multiple existential crises, but it's quite fun. Thanks for watching. Good night and good luck.